but it's a different vintage. And of course the industry says that vintages make no difference. Well, that's bollocks, of course they do. And here we had the proof. We had two 20-year-old Bruichladdich, 4 years apart, and they were as different as chalk and cheese.
Really, yeah.
So what do? You put it in a bottle, 20-year-old Bruichladdich, fantastic tasting notes, unbelievable, and go, here it is, again, knowing full well that it's not the same thing. Or do you, hands up, this isn't the same thing, this is different. And that's what we did. We stuck on the thing that 20-year-old second edition. And then we thought, well, okay, it's, to us, demonstrably different. We can make it even more different deliberately. And that's when we had this hit on this idea of acing, additional cask evolution, by putting, decanting the whiskey from one set of barrels into another set of barrels with the direct aim to change from perhaps, in this instance, American oak, creme brulee, vanilla flavor profile to a grilled toast butter flavor profile, which is given to you by European oak, Quercus robur.
What most people would call finishing.
Yeah, well, I didn't like this term because that's a negative. Finishing sounds like you've got something crap and you're trying to make it better. Well, we had something that was jolly, jolly good, but we wanted to make it demonstrably different to the preceding one. And as you know, whiskey, when you put it into wood, the influence of the wood is quickest in the first few months of the whiskey being in there. It leaches into the wood and it draws out all that flavour. So if you have a 30-year-old whiskey, it got its wood element, its wood influence, in the first year that it was there. Okay, you'll get a bit more as time goes by, but the vast majority was there at the beginning. So with that in mind, if we decant from a neutral wood, a wood that's, okay, the whiskey's matured, it's oxidizing through the wood, which is the whole point of using oak. And it's changing the flavor compounds, particularly the aldehydes, into something really, really nice, which is the whole point of maturing whiskey. It's that gentle oxidation through the wood. Well, if that wood is neutral because it's been used too many times, which has often happened in the 70s and the 80s, you're getting no benefit from the wood at all. It's merely a container. It might as well be plastic. So decanting that mature whiskey, because it's been oxidizing fine, into fresh wood, be it American oak or European oak or whatever.
Yes, look at that, the pink one. Tell us about that. Because that is distinctly pink.
Well, yeah, that came. Well, it's got a tint to it. It goes in a series of wine casks from Spain, American oak, European oak. But inevitably, there is a residue of the wine in the wood, just as there is with sherry barrels, which is a wine, and that gets leached out, and so you get a tint. And because the grapes in the wine that was in these barrels were red, Tempranillo, you get, instead of a brownish colour, which you get from sherry, you get a tint of red, which, yeah, okay, that's what's going to happen. So it's just customizing ourselves to the fact that, sherry wood was, that was really useful. For many years it was really useful. It gave a richness and a darkness and a sweetness and a brownness. It made young whiskey look old. It made sort of crap whiskey taste good, and it was a very useful thing. But that's no longer possible because sherry barrels are no longer exported to the UK. All sherry is bottled in Spain, and therefore very, very, very few genuine sherry barrels are available. You've got lots of pseudo pretend ones, but not real sherry barrels. We still buy sherry barrels. We buy them from Valdespino, but we get a very small volume each year of genuine sherry barrels. That are what are known as floor butts. You've got lots of pretend ones, which are just had a couple of bottles of sherry in them and then swilled around a bit, and hey presto, you've got a sherry barrel. But that's just pretend. So for us, because we don't colour the whiskey, we bottle it naturally. We bottle it here at the distillery. We don't chill filter it. We don't standardise it. They're small bottlings, and we don't colour it. We don't add caramel. The colour we obtain from the wood. So it's a entirely naturally obtained colour. And yes, sure, if we put, with this additional cask evolution, this acing, If we put the whiskey into casks that have had red wine in them, yeah, by default we're going to get a tint. If we put them into sauterne casks, you'll get a golden. You know, it's directly related to what was in the wine in the first place. Just as the brownness associated with sherry and caramel is from the wine that was in there beforehand. So the colour is one thing, but it's the wood taste that we're after. If Quercus alba, American oak, gives you that creme brulee, that creme anglaise, vanilla flavours, which we love and goes very well with Bruichladdich, as you tasted earlier, we'll never ignore that. That's a really good combination. Quercus robur, or European oak, French oak if you're in France, English oak if you're in England, it gives you a sort of buttery, grilled toast sort of flavour profile. Simplistically put, you've got vanilla on one hand and you've got butter and toast on the other. That's a very simplistic way of looking at it. So we're introducing a different type of oak, regardless of the wine that went in there. That's nothing. We don't put it on the label. We don't tell you anything. That's irrelevant. It's the actual origin of the wood. And of course, in France alone, you've got 10 different oak forests, barrels made from these different forests of Trancet, Limousin, Vosges, Nièvre. You saw some earlier, all of which have their own identity. Sought after greatly by winemakers to match the wine that they've got. And depending on the altitude they were grown at, it depends how quickly they grew, therefore the tightness of the grain, etc., etc. So you've got 10 different forest origins, you've got 45 different barrel makers. Well, in America, you've essentially got one mega forest and 4 mega coopers. So the variables are huge. Forget the winemakers. You add that on top. So for us, it's very, very, very exciting. And of course, wine casks have always been used. Sherry is a wine. Port is a wine. Madeira is a wine, and we use barrels from all those too. And we've got evidence from the 1870s. Barnard, for example. You flick through the graphics that they've got in there, and you'll see wine barrels stacked up in distilleries. Genuine Burgundy wine barrels.
Yes.
So it's nothing new. It's nothing new. But for us, it's very exciting to do it in a very clever way, using our wine background, using Jim's tasting techniques and his knowledge of the wine, and matching the two things together. And we find that really riveting.